All right, welcome back to the Northtown Automotive Extra Point Show. Sal Capaccio with you here on WGR Sports Radio 550. Want to get right back into it, taking your phone calls here. Let's get to Nick in Depew. Go ahead, Nick. Or I'm sorry, it's in Derby. Go ahead, Nick.
Hey, how you doing? I was just going to say I really feel like Mike Tomlin will be a perfect fit for us. I don't know. I know he mentioned taking a year off and everything, but that was before he could have a chance to get Josh Allen. I feel like it could be similar to the situation that Andy Reid had leaving Philadelphia, then all of a sudden ending up with Patrick Mahomes. I feel there's a lot of similarities. They both had a ton of success, and then Tomlin's never really had an elite quarterback. He won with Ben, and then Ben declined quickly, and even Ben at his peak was not Josh Allen. So I feel like there's a lot of similarities there, and I think that he could handle the locker room better than anybody to be able to handle the players that are maybe disappointed or frustrated with the situation right now. I don't think there's a better fit to come in and calm everybody down.
Yeah, I'm a big Mike Tomlin fan as a coach. I don't think he fits here right now. I think that would be basically doing the same thing. You do have he's a guy that did win a Super Bowl way back when, right, early on in his career. He's also a defensive-minded coach that very much is not progressive at all. I mean, this guy punts. He never met a punt he didn't like. I love Mike Tomlin, too, when I say this, but I think that would feel very similar. Defensive coach around the same age, from the same college, for crying out loud, teammates. I just don't think that would fit here. I like Mike Tomlin. I have a lot of respect for what he's done. I don't think that's what the Bills need right now. Let's go to Billy in Toronto. Hi, Billy.
Yeah, Sal, couldn't agree with you more. I don't see Tomlin doing anything. I mean, I thought he was kind of a little overrated with Pittsburgh and their records, that 9-8 every single year and then gone out. I mean, that's not what we need. Listen, Sal, I'm the total opposite here. I'm like you. I've mentioned this many times before. We're older. We absolutely think differently. That last caller, not the Tomlin guy, the guy before, just win, baby. Yeah, just this, just that, and you got all these awards in your house. It's not that easy. Listen, I really, really liked McDermott. I thought the wrong guy went. God damn it. I mean, we lose 33-30 in a game where we basically played terrible. We should have won this game. Bad call at the end. That wasn't an interception, by the way, on Josh's record. That shouldn't go down for that. But, guys, I would have just ran it right back. I really would have, Sal. You said it perfectly. Does anybody forget what happened when Tom Brady was running this division and we were 8-10 every year? I don't like it. I liked McDermott. I thought a few little fixes here and there, and I think we're right back there again. And I'll tell you this. I've mentioned it many times about Josh Allen being my favorite player, but I'll tell you one thing. If I find out that Josh Allen's the reason why this happened, boy, I'll tell you, he will not be my favorite player anymore. Okay. I'm very disappointed in this.
I don't know, I can't imagine that they don't at least talk with Josh about his feelings. This is like the whole draft thing, right, Billy, where people go, oh, Josh Allen wanted the guy, so they drafted him. He doesn't make the call, but certainly I think that they have to get his temperature on things and when major moves happen and what your thoughts are about the head coach. And he could love Sean McDermott, but maybe he says, hey, it's not that he's trying to push him out or anything like that, but you could hear him say, look, if this is the direction you guys want to go, then you go do that. Or he could be like, hey, I don't want to happen, and you guys did. I don't know. I just can't imagine that we would hear one way or the other like that. Thanks, Billy. All right, so Billy mentioned it. Let me just reset everything. First of all, a couple different things here, okay? This is the Catholic Health Extra Point Show on a Buffalo Football Monday, presented by Catholic Health, the right way to care. Brought to you by Northwest Bank. For what's next, get started at northwest.com and by Northtown Hyundai, Western New York's premier Hyundai dealership. Shop online at northtownhyundai.com. I'm Sal Capaccio. We're here today talking about the big news today, the Bills firing Sean McDermott. They've also released a statement. They're retaining Brandon Beane as general manager, and he's promoted to president of football operations. He will lead the search for the new head coach. Taking your phone calls on that. Okay, we're going to have One Bills Live right after this. The Sabres do play today. That game will be over on the Bet 1520. 12:30 p.m. pregame, 1:30 p.m. puck drop. Okay, they're in Carolina today. So we got a lot going on here. We're dealing with a lot, of course, not only on the Bills side of things on WGR Sports Radio 550, but online. WGR550.com is your place for everything you need. So you can call. You can watch the show. We are on YouTube. We're on Twitch. You want to get in the bullpen. You want to talk with your fellow Bills fans, whatever. I was recording a podcast this morning with Matt Beauvais. It's always game day in Buffalo. Literally happened while we were on the air with the breaking news. Go check that out. It'll be up. It'll be at Sal Sports on YouTube. It'll be also on wherever you pod, okay? So make sure you check that out. You can hear us react in real time to this happening. And before that, we talked for about 20 minutes on everything that went down Saturday in Denver. So check all of that out, all right? We have a few other things we need to get to because we got people here that have been a part of the show that sponsor it and give you all the information, including the Barnes Firm Injury Report, brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Injured? For help, call 1-800-8-MILLION. I'm going to make that something that I talked about, and I was with the guys in the locker room yesterday in locker cleanout. Tyler Bass, Landon Jackson, Dwayne Carter. I mean, you can go to Ty Johnson. A lot of guys who have injuries, some guys longer term, like the first three I mentioned. Rehab, they're all saying it's going well. They'll be ready. Tyler Bass said he thinks he'll be ready, for everything to happen in the offseason. Landon Jackson said for sure that he should be. So check all that out. That's all on demand at WGR550.com. We're taking your phone calls at 803-0550. Okay. I have two kind of overarching thoughts on all of this right now before we get to more of your phone calls, okay? Number one, I am often seen as, referred to, criticized, whatever, here on this radio station and on my platforms as a Sean McDermott defender of all things, whatever. And I do believe Sean McDermott's a really good coach, and I do defend him a lot because I think that he takes a lot of criticism that is actually should be maybe is it that people want to cherry pick a lot of things because they simply don't like him. Whatever, that's fine. I'll take all that. But I think one of the reasons is, and I try to self-examine all the time on where I am on certain opinions, certain people, things like that. One of the reasons why, and the big reason why I think that I've always erred more or been more on the side of defending or saying he's the right coach, never ever campaigning for the Bills to move on, and I've never done that, and I wouldn't in this situation at least, right? Is because I've been around this team and covered this team through 4 head coaches now, okay? We're talking Chan Gailey, Doug Marrone, Rex Ryan, Sean McDermott. 3 general managers, right? A couple different changes here and there. A couple ownerships. Like a lot of my media colleagues who've been around a long time, and now I can say I'm old enough and been here long enough now back in Buffalo that I've done this long enough that I've been through different regimes. And I'm close to it all. Embedded on the field. Sidelines, all that stuff. Down at One Bills Drive. All the time, every practice. And one of the reasons, the biggest reason I think that I usually defend, if you want to say that, Sean McDermott, or at least try to bring it back from the massive criticism sometimes is, folks, I think I've seen enough of what it should look like to be successful, what success looks like versus what it shouldn't look like and not be successful. To me, that was Rex Ryan. Like, the way it felt, the way it looked when you're down there every day, you can have some good moments, but that's not what success feels like and looks like. That operation, that organization, everything that went along with it. And since Sean McDermott's been here, I would say that's what it looks like. Like, I've seen what it's not supposed to look like, and I know what it looks like now. And I've been through enough of it to say, okay, that's what it should look like. And they've been successful. I've also always respected the point of you could get to a certain point of maybe you need a new voice. Maybe you need a new direction. It doesn't have to be that someone did something wrong. It doesn't have to be that there was a falling out. I think this happened in Baltimore, which is, look, you get to a certain point and you could talk about failures and certain moments and they blew this in the fourth quarter and all that, and that's fine. It's all well and good. But you could also just get to, we just need something different. And I've always respected that. I never felt the Bills needed that at this point, and I didn't think they would do that. But here we are. Okay, so now let's move it on. My other point about this is, if you're going to do this, and I've said this for a while, if you're going to do it, to me, there's only 2 things that make sense here, okay? Maybe a third, which I'll get to. Number 1, a coach that's won a Super Bowl. If you're going to fire the coach that's won 5 straight division titles, been in the playoffs every year but one since he's been the head coach. Wild success, regular season, advancing through to the divisional round and championship game and losing in last possessions and one possession and being right there at the door. If you're going to fire that coach because he can't get you over the hump, then you better bring in somebody who's showing you he can get you over the hump with a Super Bowl ring and said, I've done this before. But there are very few of those guys out there because of my second point. Either you do that or you hire the brightest, probably younger what's Sean McDermott's 52, right? 53, whatever, 54. I mean, that's not super old in coaching. But you hire a bright, young offensive mind and say, this is the direction we need to go with this quarterback right now. Even though he hasn't won, doesn't have a track record, whatever. Because otherwise, I think it just feels the same, right? If you go out and get a guy that's just been coaching and he hasn't won, especially from the defensive side, why did you make the move? Wouldn't that be tough? Now, some of you may say, it doesn't matter, get me anybody. I have no time for that. You better have the right person. It is time to win. I agree with that caller from Foxborough. It's time to win. So if you're going to do that for that reason, you got to get somebody, either A, who's done it, or B, show me you're going in a different direction because that's what you need to say, we got to do this differently. And that's totally different. Now, you could get a totally out-of-the-box guy, right? I don't know, Kurt Signetti and Marcus Freeman in the college ranks. Oh, my God, get this guy. Yeah, you could do that, and it would feel really different. But I think one of the two has to happen. Otherwise, it's a really, really tough sell to the fan base. And I also think myself, why did you do what you did then? And if the Bills did that, and the fact that the Bills did this today tells me they've already kind of been in this process. I don't think Sean McDermott walked in to his office on a Monday and Terry Pagula walked in with Brandon Beane and Pete Gwelly and everybody who runs the Bills down there and said, hey, what do you think we should do about the coach? I don't think that happened today. These things happen over accumulation of time to get to ultimately where you are today. And that's what we're talking about here in the Northtown Automotive Extra Point Show. Let's go to Ed in Jamestown. Hi, Ed.
Good morning, and thank you for taking my call.
You got it.
I'm not surprised McDermott did get fired. I'm more surprised Beane got promoted.
Mm-hmm.
And you brought up a legitimate point about Harbaugh. But however, we're talking the NFL here. It's a what have you done for me league lately. Granted, Harbaugh spent how many years in Baltimore? 19 Super Bowl win. Then you have Tomlin that, you think pretty highly of, and whatever. He has a Super Bowl win, whatever. But, there's many games that McDermott has been outcoached by the other opposing coaches.
Yeah, that's going to happen when you've been coaching that long. He's also outcoached the other team many, many times, which is why he has a great record. Let's go to Jim. Hi, Jim. You're on WGR.
Hey, Sal, what's going on? So,
a lot.
Back to the email you put out earlier with the two considerations Beane and the Bills should have looking for a new coach, either get a Super Bowl or...
Hey, I don't email, pal. I write on X, just so you know. Just go ahead. I'm sorry. Just trying to lighten the mood. Go ahead. You're good, buddy. Go ahead.
No, yeah, I still say Twitter. I'm 57. Reprogramming me is a struggle, believe me. What about this? And I agreed with, and I heard when the previous guy said this, you didn't agree, but I'll try to sell it again. Mike Tomlin is head coach, Brian Daboll, or Mike McDaniel, but preferably Daboll is offensive coordinator. Now, there's a lot of tumblers that have to fall into place. Daboll could get another head coaching gig. But you have your Super Bowl pedigree. I think Tomlin's a good coach. He was just in Pittsburgh too long. And you get the guy Josh Allen worked best with in Daboll as offensive coordinator. Gives Daboll an opportunity to build up some more credit to go for what I'm sure he will want to do, go after a second gig as head coach.
Yeah, Sean McDermott is going to be atop many teams' candidate list, and I think Brian Daboll will be somebody who would love this job. To me, he strikes me as that. I know Brian pretty well. I know he loves Buffalo. His family is still here. He has a great relationship with Josh. Would the organization want that? Or would they also see that as, well, we've done that before. He's been here. We don't want that. That could be it, too. This is an owner that did rehire Lindy Ruff as his head coach. Right? We know that there can be an affinity for people who've been here, that they have relationships with. We also don't know what the relationship is. Maybe they didn't have that great of a relationship. I don't know. Davis Webb, Everybody keeps bringing his name up. Davis Webb loves Buffalo as well. I know for a fact he would love to come back here, be a part of the organization, given the right opportunity. He's doing well in Denver, but is he ready for a head coach job? Clint Kubiak is somebody that Jeremy has mentioned in Seattle. What he's doing there. Very bright mind, very bright, young offensive mind. I think there are a lot of possibilities here. Todd in Buffalo's up next. Hi, Todd.
Hi, how are you doing? I was calling, you kind of, when you went on that big conversation a couple of minutes ago, I was going to kind of say a lot of stuff you said, but, my biggest thing is who are they going to get? Because they just fired, to me, one of the best coaches we ever had. I do not think Brian Daboll is a good fit at all. But it's like, if we're going to get somebody, we have to get somebody, like you said, that's won a Super Bowl, or this doesn't make sense. And I honestly feel like for Bills fans, when are we going to have enough? And it's almost like the people that are on top making these decisions, it's kind of like, it's confusing. Why did Bean get almost given something to stay here, and he's the one that's making the decisions, where Sean McDermott is the one that's kind of fixing his mess-ups? That's what he did this whole season. Bean didn't get us anybody. He didn't give anybody Sean McDermott to really work with, and he almost got us to the Super Bowl. It's crazy to me.
All right, well, thanks a lot. Let's go to Anthony next up. I'm sorry, I forgot the name on the screen that was there. Thanks a lot for the phone call. I think a lot of people share that sentiment, but a lot of different opinions. And Anthony, you're up next. Go ahead.
Yeah, hello?
You're on the air, buddy.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Mm-hmm.
I think they could have kept Sean McDermott. I mean, he had all these injuries, and he still plugged in players that could play, but the injuries hurt us. I mean, I think he's doing a good job.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find many teams around the league that dealt with what he did on the roster with injuries on defense to still be where they were. I know they were not good against the run this year. I mean, here we are. I was expected to come in here on a Monday and talk about, well, you know what? They got to fix the run defense. And, because it wasn't good. They were number one against the pass, 7th-ranked defense overall, despite the roster and injuries they had. I think that's a testament to his coaching and his defensive staff coaching. Let's go to Joe in East Aurora. Hi, Joe.
Hi. Morning.
Morning.
So immediately up on the news of this, right, 4 anecdotal successful head coach firings jump out to me that says this will not work. But a car's rearview mirror is a lot smaller than the windshield. So even on the day of the move, I don't feel comfortable hindsighting this, and I want to move on, which leads me to the future. And caveat emptor, buyer beware, the first rule of law school. Thinking several steps ahead, right? What does success look like next year to the fans, to you, the media, to ownership? And if the next head coach does not make the Super Bowl in year one, the optics of this move will be a mistake, because we gave up the continuity of success year over year in building a winning culture for the exact same result. So whoever the next head coach is, it's Super Bowl year one, or it is a massive mistake by ownership and by Bean. And I think they made a move today, which they needed to, but they made a move on the wrong guy.
Yeah, I up until the last part there, obviously that's your opinion on it, and we'll see where it goes. But I love what you said there, which is if you're making this move, it's because you have to win. You have to win. There's no doubt about it. And you're right. If we're sitting here a year from now, Joe, having the same conversation about the result of the season, this is not like you did nothing here. Right? I mean, that's what it comes down to. Yep. And you didn't advance, and that's what this comes down to. Thanks, Joe. I appreciate it. It's a great way of thinking about it. Let's go to John, who's up next in Warsaw. Hi, John.
Hey, Sal, 3 quick questions, and I'll rip through them so I can hang up and listen.
Mm-hmm.
They beat Denver but lose to Patriots. Does this still happen? Was there urgency to this because they saw so many coaching vacancies? And has there been any coaches, tenured coaches, 9 seasons with one team that have gone to the Super Bowl after that? Thanks.
All right, so I don't think there's been a coach that's been with his team that long that went to a Super Bowl. We know the whole thing about no coach has been with the same quarterback for 5 years and went. I don't know. I'd have to look back in the history of that. I don't think so. We'll see. We could, though, take a look at that. I don't think so. 9 years, it's a long time to even keep your job if you're not successful. They've had a lot of success here, but it hasn't resulted in the ultimate success. Going backward here, yeah, I would say there's urgency. I mean, you see that all these openings are happening and guys are getting jobs. It's not just that, folks. It's not just the head coaches who are getting jobs around the league. It's the staffs they're bringing with them. It's the people you might identify that are already eating up other jobs, signing contracts to be an offensive coordinator. No, don't do that. We want you for our head coach. Like, those things are happening. No doubt there's urgency. You can't just do that. Look, when the season ended and we went down for locker cleanout yesterday, we were all, amongst ourselves talking like, could there be a change? Would you think so? And my thought was, if it's going to happen, you got to do it soon. I mean, there's jobs. You can't wait. And then all of a sudden you're left out of, well, who are we going to get now? So it tells me that this was, to your last point, your first question here. I don't know if it would have happened if they would have lost the AFC Championship, but it feels like this is something that they probably figured they would be doing in some capacity, right? That's what it feels like. I don't know. Let's go to Bill in Buffalo. Hi, Bill.
Hey, Sal. First of all, Sean McDermott has really earned my respect over the past couple of seasons with all the adversity that the team has fought and he's overcome. If you talked to me after the 13-second game, I would have said, boy, maybe it might be a good idea to get rid of him. After that, though, in my opinion, he's done a great job. And he did a great job even before that. But the point of the matter is he's really earned my respect. I think they made a wrong move here. And my question is, do you think that after the game when he made his speech and he went on about a 15-minute rant about basically about the NFL and that the Bills deserve better, and kind of gave the innuendo that maybe something was a little rotten in Denmark in that whole thing there. Do you think that maybe there's any chance that that had something to do with this firing? And if you really want to go down the rabbit hole, do you think by any chance that the NFL gave the Bills a call and said, hey, you know what? Get rid of this guy. He's a malcontent. He's causing us problems.
No.
Hey, not so I can hear it.
Wait, you're I want to make clear on your question. I apologize. You're saying the NFL would have had a hand in firing Sean McDermott because he made a phone call or said something about the league?
But do you think the NFL frowned on
not one single a second iota would I think that. Not at all. No. They would have nothing to do with that. No one would care. The Bills would laugh at them if they said something like that. This has nothing to do with that. Let's go to Andrew in Rochester. Hi, Andrew.
Hey, Sal. Thanks for having me on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely heartbroken about McDermott. Just thinking about the last few weeks, what he's made out of a really tattered remains of the roster. So many injuries. I mean, we made Brandon Cook serviceable, Gabe Davis serviceable. They weren't effective on other rosters. And then thinking about going back all the way to the offseason, his comments with Jeremy, I think he had a lot of the fan base turn against him after he made those comments, and then was kind of had to eat his own words after going through the trade deadline, saying he wanted to get one. It just looked silly. I'm very nervous for the Bills' future. They must have somebody in mind for the head coach. Otherwise, they wouldn't have made this decision.
Yeah, you're probably right. I think you have to have at least a short list, if not somebody specific, right? I think that's exactly what has to happen. In fact, I will tell you, Andrew, that a lot of comparisons have been made even, before this happened to Tony Dungy in Tampa years ago. This is in the 90s. Now, if you don't remember, folks, Tony Dungy was getting to AFC Championship games, winning divisions, and they couldn't get to a Super Bowl. And people said, well, they should fire Tony Dungy. And others said, no, you can't do that. This guy's been really, really great for you. They ultimately did. And the reason they did is because they had a guy in mind that they traded for in John Gruden. It wasn't in a vacuum just fire Tony Dungy. It was, let's go get John Gruden. And that's why they did that. So I don't disagree. Hey, got a note here. My buddy Brendan, he's getting connected with me and getting connected with our fans, is brought to you by Northtown Kia, Western New York's #1 Kia dealer. Shop online at northtownkia.com. Thank you, Brendan. That's right. Bill Cowher won the Super Bowl in year 14. He went to the Super Bowl in year 4, but he won it for the first time in year 14. So yes, to answer the question from earlier, has a coach ever been with a team after 9 years or 9 years or longer and had never won a Super Bowl? The answer is yes. Bill Cowher's at least one example, year 14. 803-0550, more of your phone calls on the way on the Northtown Automotive Extra Point Show on WG.